Hello everybody, it's harvest day today on Greenside Up, and I just want to quickly go over some of these microgreens because before I go and harvest the rest of the stuff, because this is going to feature in our meal today, so I'll get you in closer and let you have a look. So these greens, these were the peas I grew these for shoots. Now these trays, these reservoir trays and the actual growing trays were given to me by a company in Edinburgh called Grown Local. And Ian over there very kindly sent me them, and he also sent me some tendril peas, which are what's growing in there at present. He did warn me, he said they had a problem with them going mouldy. I didn't experience that problem, and they were about a week from harvest time where I would have been happy to cut them to eat, and then they just started dying, and I think it's cold weather. I think that's probably what's done it, but I don't know, because I mean peas are generally hardy, so. But anyway, they've succumbed and they've had it. But it was a test, a trial. It worked, and I'm looking forward to trying these again next sort of spring. There'll be a very convenient way of growing pea shoots for salad rather than taking up valuable bed space. Anyway, on to the main event up here. Now ignore this tray for a minute. All this back here was sent to me by another company. They sent me the seed, and that's called Grow Seed. And they've got a microgreen section in there, and in general these have been very, very good. There's one notable exception down here, the bull's blood basil, but that's weather, that's what's done that, because basil is a warm weather plant. They started to grow and then they've just keeled over because of the cold weather. But in general, what we've got here, we've got a red kale here, a broccoli, then a beetroot, Chinese cabbage over here, a red cabbage, a carrot and an onion. The onion hasn't done very well, but the rest have flourished. Carrots here are very good, but you say we've got the red cabbage, Chinese cabbage, broccoli and the kale, and I've harvested from all of those, and very badly too, because these trays, you can see with the level of compost, you're actually cutting into the soil downwards to get as much of the stem off as possible, as opposed to these where the level of the soil is at the height of the actual plastic, so you can just cut across. But that's why these are specially designed for growing microgreens. I just use seed trays here just to try and test, so I found that out for myself. But what I have found is I did one initial harvest just as a little trial at home, just to go on a sandwich, and then I've done 2 further harvests which we've eaten. But these plants are sort of, as they're carrying on growing, they just fill the space again, so that's blooming fantastic. So I'm harvesting these again today. These will all go into a big bundle, be chopped very lightly once or twice through the knife with a good handful of them together on the chopping board, chopped just so they're more fork friendly, and they'll be stirred into a stir fry, which I'm going to go and pick the main ingredients for in a minute, as will this one. This, I bought a big bag of coriander seed, used the trays from Grown Local. So you've got, if I can open that up, a growing tray, there you can see all the roots underneath, and then this reservoir tray where you water. I've only had a few pickings off this, very light, but I'm going to take a lot of this today, add it to the rest of them, and they will all be tossed through at the end of making the stir fry. So literally 2 tosses of pan and serve it. They don't need any cooking at all, really, just scaring. Anyway, we'll go and get some harvest for the stir fry now. So what I want is something sweet to start the stir fry off. We'll start with these leeks, and what I'll do is I'll just obviously clean them off, chop them up, and then I will slow fry these on a low heat just to get the sweetness out of them. But what I'll do is, as I've got a great big pile of them on my chopping board, I'll put a handful to one side, and at the last minute, just before I throw the microgreens in, I'll throw the raw leeks in, just so there's some crunch to my stir fry. You don't want a big sloppy cooked mess of greens in there. You want to have different textures, flavours, tastes, You want them to look different as well, you know, you want that variation in all those things. So I'll keep a good handful of this chopped leek to one side, and that will go in just before I throw the microgreens in. So there we go, we've got some there. We'll go and get some more stuff now. So what I'm after now is some of these Asian greens. This is Mizuma, and I want a lot of this. This is going to be part of the mainstay of the stir fry. So just absolutely hack into this, big bunches, and then I will add some of this by means of contrast. Again, for the different colourways in your meal. It just makes it look more appealing on the plate. People eat with their eyes. If it looks nice, it will taste nice. So just have a big helping of that. It may look a lot, this, but once it's wilted down in a pan, you're not left with much. So go mad, you've got plenty of it. Or if you're like me, you have anyway. There we go, there's a nice big handful of the coloured. There we go. Now this is bok choy, and I'm just going to separate some of these away from this plant. This will add a bit more texture again. I will chop the leaves separately, and the stalks will get chopped separately, and the stalks will go in after the leeks go in. Just a little bit firmer, but that's enough of that because I've got something else to go in it as well. So these are a slightly different Asian green. These are pak choy, and I'm going to take whole plants here, a couple of each. I don't worry about plants that have been nibbled. It just means that part of one of the leaves are gone, as long as it's got no bugs in. But you can see that's a lovely plant with leaf and stalks, and that's going to add some crunch to the stir fry. I also want some carrots today as well. Not necessarily going into the stir fry, but I might grate some in anyway. These are good little carrots, but just to have them in the kitchen this week in case I want to make a soup or something. There we go. They're lovely. Go and clean them up a bit. So there we go, there's a lovely trug of veg for today. I've added a few sprouts as well, which I could chop up nice and finely and go in. Big bucket of the Mizuma, the red and the green, that will wilt down to almost nothing. So it looks more than it actually is. And then right to the end, I've got I haven't even harvested them yet, but the cut microgreens will go in, including the coriander. That is going to sing like mad. And we're doing this I'm doing it today with pan roasted salmon. So this is just going to be lovely. But anyway, look after yourselves everyone. Please stay safe. I'll see you all very, very soon. Ta-ra now.